Huh. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Every color. Except the gold one. How is there a spark plug in here for? Light X. Crappy card. Oh. I should really Oh, forgot to check if the car was in. No, it's not. Damn! All that shit, LEDX and everything. No way. My god, I fucking put a LEDX in my regular baggage. What an idiot. Wow, I did need him in the end. No. I already... How do I already have one listed? I can only list one case. And fucking tall. Oh, no. I get it. Saying there's 5. each of these and I've traded in 195 and 261. Oh, it's not going to work anyway because it's already used. Let's put it back together. None of these are gonna sell together. What a piece of crap. wet through. Come on. Thank you. I didn't bring a splint, thanks. And now I've got grenades again. Unload. Garbage ammo. Another PMC. Holy crap. is on that? Wow, that's weird. Oh, look what he found. Ah, car's here. Nice. And they have money. Blurry vision. Dude, there's nothing in here. What the hell? One card, two cards. Let's get a grenade. Oh, alright. Bitcoin. You kidding? Dancing cabbage. Oh, I can put it in here. Nice. To me, no space for stupid spot. shit, I've got none left. Oh well.
I see him. I'm hit.
guys were shelling. Gotcha. Fucking cabbage again. Not like the best shotgun in the game. Damn. This will be somebody have a shotgun? No, guess not. Buy an MDR. Who the hell had an MDR? I need to find this key. Crap, even that. I don't even have one for the desk now. What room is this one? 110. Terrible scope.
Hey, here's a giant bottle. It's called Gambit. Wheel. I hit green. It hit green for 25. Where'd he go? The fuck is that thing? No, you can't grab it. It does not appear you can grab his head. No!
Oh shit! Stop. Oh fucking hell, I was fucking around with the fucking thing and I forgot to redo it all. Let's do it. No, I redid the bed and I forgot to redo it, configure the floors. That would help. Stupid thing.
Патронов нет! Пацаны сейчас накроют нас! Прямо берцы! Кепка! Да вот он!
Fucking let down again. You kidding me?
2 weeks ago, I posted a video how 3 guys from the FAA, they raided our shop. I'm gonna call it raided because they just busted in the shop. They flapped their badges, FAA, and they were concerned about 2 Cessna motherboards, aircraft motherboards that we fixed. It was a hotline complaint. That's one of the guys said to me. We know who complained. I did post the name, the username of the person who complained. No personal information, just a username. And I did tell viewers to say hi to that person, to congratulate him for making that complaint. The guys came in and they flapped their badges, FAA, and I do have a video you can watch. When was the video posted? 2 weeks ago. When was that? Just search FAA Northbridge Fix. Some of the popular comments that we received were, why does it take 3 guys to come to your shop? Is that how we are spending our tax money? 1 person would have been enough. Why 3 guys? The guys came in and they wanted to know who sent those boards in. I did not give them any information, but I did work with them. The first thing I told them was, I just wanted to clear myself from any wrongdoing, and I asked them, as a non-certified FAA shop, am I allowed to work on those boards? And they said, yes, it's not you, but we want to make sure the customer who sent the boards over to you, they are signing off those boards before they go in an aircraft, and we want to know that that person is not sending the board over to you to fix, and then they sell those boards as certified where those boards are not certified. And I asked, there's no way to tell. I mean, the buyer who is buying those boards, why would somebody buy a non-certified board and install it in a $10 million aircraft and risk that aircraft falling from the skies? Why would anybody do it? And they said, you'll be surprised. A lot of people do it so they can save money. And then I told them, the person who is buying the board, how can they check if that board is certified? And they said they cannot. They will go by the word of what that seller is telling them. Now, when I was working on that board, fixing that Cessna motherboard, 1 resistor was blown. I did not know the value of the resistor. I looked up an image of the motherboard online, and I came across an eBay listing that had a high resolution image. I zoomed in and I was able to find that part number. Great, now we can order the part and fix the motherboard for the customer. When the FAA guys came in, I told them, did you ever investigate that person that is selling the same board for $12,000 on eBay, if that person has a certified board or if he's selling just any board? And they said no.
Вали, вали, хуесос!
I'm with the FAA, with safety. But there are rules. You want to ask for a customer information, you have to have a court order to get a customer information. If there's anything the law requires that I'm obligated to give you, I will 100% do it because I'm not against the law. But asking for a customer's information without a court order, it's not going to happen. So I made FAA aware that I cannot provide any information, but I'm willing to help out. I still have the boards. In the video, if you watch it, I told them that we did not get paid for those boards yet. We have the boards. There are no safety concerns right now. If in fact, those people should not be handling those boards, I can reach out to the customer and I can ask questions within the limitations of what I can ask. I cannot ask questions, but I can do some research about the company. And they have a big warehouse fixing things. I looked at the pictures. So they agreed. They said, okay, you can be the middleman. The guy gave me his card, and I still have the card on my bench here. Matthew, FAA, he said to call me with information because we need to speak with that person, with the owner of the company. I said, no problem. So I reached out to the customer and I told him that FAA came in, and the guy was surprised. He said, what brought FAA to you? He thought I snitched on them for FAA to come in. So I told them, watch the video. He watched it and he was surprised. And the guy sent me an email. The guy is an A&P tech and they've had the business for almost 40 years. He said, procedure. Give me their phone number and I will call them. I wrote Abby Monday, October 13, 2025, 10:47 a.m. Hello Abby, the FAA stopped by our shop today asking questions about the 2 boards you sent over for repair. They requested your contact information to confirm whether the boards are being signed off before installation. We didn't share any details and told them we would reach out to you first for clarification. Please let us know how you'd like us to respond. They're waiting for our reply. This is an urgent matter. Please reply ASAP. Abby responded, it's just for testing, experimental purposes for this tester. That is very strange for them to come. Was it specifically for those 2 items? I replied, and I wrote, please contact him today and keep me posted. I did not give the inspector the customer's phone number, but I asked Abby to call them. And I wrote the name of the inspector, the phone number, and the email. And then I also linked to the YouTube video that we did. Now the customer replied and wrote, whoa, that was interesting. So I'm an FAA aircraft mechanic and my dad has owned an aircraft maintenance shop for 40 years. That's what we do. So we are familiar with it's legal for any owner or pilot or mechanic to install any non-FAA certified part on their aircraft as long as the aircraft is not for hire, Part 91. That's why it's legal for people to sell their aircraft on eBay or wherever. Thank you very much for all of this. Also tell the owner I've been watching him for years and I love watching his videos and I appreciated that he did not cave into the pressure of giving my information to them. I run a successful parts sales business that we get FAA repair shops that are certified to repair all of our parts. We just had a customer that owned his own plane asking if we can get these PC cards repaired because the manufacturer couldn't repair it in a timely fashion. It's legal for him to install anything he wants on his aircraft as long as he doesn't fly for money and charge people to transport them. I contacted the FAA and hopefully they will get back to me. Thank you, Abby. And the signature, which also reads AMP Tech. So, Abby and the company is 100% legit. They've owned an aircraft maintenance shop for 40 years. Abby is an AMP Tech, and everything is legit. Now, Abby called the FAA inspector, and that's the last I heard from Abby. I contacted Matthew, the guy who gave me the card. FAA Matthew. I wrote, hello Matthew. It was a pleasure meeting you and your team. As promised, I reached out to our customer regarding the Cessna board repairs and the FAA's concerns. At his request, I provided your contact information and stressed the importance of getting in touch with you today. Please keep me informed so we can determine how to proceed with his boards, our customer's boards, and any potential future repairs. And the email was sent to Matthew when? October 13, 2025, 12:38 p.m. After sending the email, I heard nothing from Matthew. Now, a lot of people in the comments were asking, did the FAA pay you a visit before the government shutdown or after? After. October 13. I posted the video the same day FAA guys came in. You can look at the date. It was after the shutdown. They did not reply. So I sent them another email. I want to know what to do with the boards. I want to protect myself. I want to protect our business, even though everything looks legit. I just wanted the okay from Matthew. So again, I wrote, hello Matthew. The customer mentioned that he called yesterday and left you a message. Were you able to follow up with him? Please let me know the outcome so we can decide how to proceed with the boards. The customer has already paid for one of the repaired boards, so we need to ship it back. He also noted that the boards are for private use. His signature reads AMP Tech, and he's an aircraft mechanic. Please update me on the status. And no updates. Matthew does not want to update me on the status. What was all this coming to the store for? 3 guys came into the shop, flapping their badges, safety concerns. Is the board being certified? Is the board being signed off? It would take Matthew a second to reply, yes, we did call him, everything is okay. Have a nice day. How long would that take? 2 seconds? 3 seconds? 10 seconds? Nothing. Is it the government shutdown that's preventing Matthew from replying to my emails? Maybe, I don't know. But they came in after the government was shut down. A lot of viewers wrote in the comments, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. FAA do not care. Look at what's going on with Boeing. Look at what's going on with this. 17, 1800 comments, people talking about the money industry, money industry. And I'm starting to believe this. Because if this was in fact a safety concern, the least we can get is, yes, we did check. Thank you very much for your participation. Everything is okay. Proceed. What should I do? I keep the boards. I send the boards back. I wait for Matthew to reply. Today is what? October 30. It's been 2 weeks, 15 days. I sent the board back to the customer. And I did my due diligence. I reached out to the customer and to Matthew. And I did everything I could. If Matthew does not want to respond, I'm guessing everything is okay. Let's read some of the comments. 1,800 comments. I'm going to go over maybe 10. Alex, I'm a retired FAA inspector, and I must say you handled the FAA visit in a very professional manner with a good outcome. Most people are intimidated with FAA flashing IDs and badges. Having the mountain of rice on the side made all the difference. The installer of the circuit board has the responsibility to ensure it's properly tested and signed off by a certified person, not your facility. I'm sure more aviation shops will be sending you boards to repair after seeing your videos. Well done. Daniel wrote, certification is the only way a $30 board can be sold for $30,000. Wow. Part of the certification cost is the liability insurance for when they get sued for millions after a crash. $30,000, yeah, pretty much. Okay, let's jump over to another comment. Rick wrote, the easy solution is to ask the FAA for their contact information and give it to your customer. And if your customer wants to call them and talk to them, then fine, and you're out of the loop. And that's exactly what I did. Good comment. As an MRB aircraft engineer, I find this fascinating. The FAA can easily subpoena the customer information if they seriously want it. This seems more like a due diligence visit just to make sure you understand what's on stake. The FAA isn't the bad sign. The NTSB would be a bad sign. Hotline complaint. Somebody snitched. Exactly. Looks like this is the guy who snitched. Just for the fun of it. Nobody knows who that guy is. Just a username. It's a good feeling to know the FAA is being proactive. The guy is legit, but not all are. If you want to do a job, you do it fully. Man, I wish more people would remember this. I think he's referring to when I told the inspector why not check the guy on eBay selling the board. Black Omega UK wrote, FAA basically wanted you to do their job for them. Well done as always for your professionalism. I'm sure your customers will appreciate you respecting their confidentiality. Stay safe, Alex. I appreciate it. The FAA didn't find your videos. For watching your videos. Rich people are some of the cheapest people on earth. Personal experience. I don't think that's true for every rich person, but cheap people are everywhere. Poor or rich. Random road. They sent 3 people. Busy day at the office, it seems. That's probably related to their wanting to strongman him into giving up the customer's information, like sending half a dozen cops instead of just one. People tend to poop themselves and do whatever they're told. I appreciate them looking into this matter, but 3 FAA officials for 2-3 hours. Maybe they just wanted to be on YouTube. They have a lot of time in their hands with the shutdown. When they make you pay 15 times normal retail just to have them certify it, it's an intimidation tactic. They use scare tactics. Our tax dollar is hard, not at work, is what it is. While air towers have 0 people doing traffic. Okay, I think that's enough comments. I got the point across. I did my due diligence. I reached out to the customer. I reached out to Matthew. And we're going to send the boards back to the customer. That's the update with FAA. A lot of viewers are asking what happened, what's the update. That's the update. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. I worked on a Cessna aircraft circuit board a few days ago. This one right here. And you know what happened? Nothing. I posted a video a few days ago working on the circuit board. It was sent to us by an aircraft parts company. We have other boards for them. And people in the comments wrote, a lot of comments. People wrote, you cannot work on this board. You have to be FAA certified to work on this board. You have to be EASA certified to work on this board. You're gonna be liable if that aircraft falls. Insurance is gonna follow you if something happens. You're gonna be fined. You're gonna be put in jail. And comments went on and on and on and on, and not a single person knew what he was talking about. We are at this time and age where everybody knows everything. A person wanna argue with his doctor on how to do his job. A person wanna argue with the plumber fixing his bathroom. It should be done this way and not that way. A person want to argue with his electrician. Why are you running the wire from inside the wall and not from outside the wall? We get a GPU in to fix, and the person wrote in the comment or wrote in the description, I know it's one capacitor that's causing all the issue, and I know it's an easy job for you. How do you know? Even if it's an easy job for me, how do you know that capacitor is what made that board fail? The person want to tell me how to do my job. Let me explain. Aircraft circuit boards or power supplies or display panels or whatever the case may be, anybody can work on them. Even the person who owns the aircraft can work on it. I can work on it. If you know how to solder, if you know how to troubleshoot circuit boards, you can work on it. Anybody. You can work on it in your basement. You can work on it in your shop. A lot of boards get sent out to shops that know how to solder and know how to troubleshoot a motherboard. But one thing, the motherboard cannot go back in the aircraft or the airplane until it's signed off and approved by an authorized FAA certified shop or EASA certified shop. Anybody can work on it, but this cannot go in the aircraft unless it's signed off. A certified person will look at the board. Let me check, is that component correct? Is that component soldered on properly? Whatever they do, once they sign it off, then the board can go in the aircraft. If I fix this, the person cannot just take it and put it in the aircraft. It does not work like this. What if something happens in the future? The aircraft has issues because of the work that we did. It's not on us, it's on the person who signed this off. The person's job is to make sure everything is correct, the parts are correct, the soldering is correct, and whatever they do, once they sign it off, they are liable if something were to happen to that board. So just information for you. Anybody can work on the board, but it cannot go in the aircraft unless it's signed off by a certified workshop. And a simple search on ChatGPT. Yes, anyone can physically work on an aircraft circuit board, but only a certified person or repair station can approve it for return to service. And there's more also. Uncertified individuals or shops can repair, troubleshoot, or modify components like avionics circuit boards, display panels, motherboards, power supplies. However, once the repair is complete, the component cannot be used in a certified aircraft until it's inspected, tested, and approved by an FAA certified repair station, signed off by a certified technician under FAA or EASA regulations. So now that we got this out of the way, let's focus on the board and continue where we left off. If you recall from the last video, you can go ahead and watch it. I'll leave a link down in the description. We had a blown chip and we need to replace this blown cap. We already ordered the caps and I already ordered the chip. And like I said, we have multiple boards for this company. Let's go ahead and start the repair. In the last video, I believe we measured the resistance here and we found that this component is good, 100 kilo ohms. If we compare it with this one here, 100 kilo ohms. If we compare it with this one here, 100 kilo ohms. And if we compare it here, 100 kilo ohms. Okay? So the only thing that we need to replace right now is the cap and the chip. Let's go ahead and do it. One thing I noticed inspecting the board, we do not have enough solder here. I do not see enough solder here. I do not see enough solder here. I mean, what standards is the aircraft following? The pin is probably making a connection and a very good connection. But if you look here, we have enough solder, but this one we do not have enough. Maybe I'll just brush over it. We're gonna add nf.flux. Why am I making my job harder, right? Let me apply low melt solder. As I always mention, low melt solder is magic. We have NF.flux applied on the board, and I went over this, how this flux is one of the best that you will ever get your hands on. It works extremely well under heat. It doesn't evaporate quick, no odor, long shelf life, and it's just amazing in every way. We can use it also, why not? I mean, the holes are already clean, but why not? That's what happens when you try to take a shortcut. You end up going back to it and spending twice the time. Just do it right the first time. Do not take shortcuts. I did not take a shortcut. It's a 2-layer board, but it's easier when done with low melt solder. And now we see that pin that was broken off inside, right here. And we just need to push it out, or we need to take it off from the other side. But let me continue with the rest. The initial video I posted, I thought that we had a broken pad and we had a via, but this is a through-hole chip. We do not need to restore any pads from the front because the only trace the pin connects to is on the back here. There's nothing in the front, so we do not need to restore any traces. The magic of low melt solder. Alright, and the pin is out. Right there. It's a tiny piece left that broke off from the chip. Now if you look here, the pad that broke off from the front, the pin only connects from the back. It connects from right here. Okay, it connects here and it goes here. That's our blown cap. It's connected via those two through holes that you see here. And if we flip the board, it connects to the wire right here. And therefore, if A equals C and B equals A, then A equals B, right? When we solder the chip, we should have continuity between here and here, between here and here, and between here and here. Let me grab the chip. And if we look here, the chip that we ordered is exactly the same chip. This is not a replacement. This is not something that compares. It's exactly the same chip. Alright, and the job is done. We did an amazing job. Now the pad that has more solder on it than the rest is the one that was affected. Solder is not going to flow like the rest because this pad was damaged from front of the board and copper was exposed from here. So solder tends to flow to copper that's exposed on the bottom. That's okay. But the soldering on the chip is amazing. Let's flip the board. Look at the chip and look at the soldering. Look at how solder made its way all the way to the top to the pad. Except for this one here, but the pad on top is not making a connection with anything. The pad is making a connection from the bottom. And as I mentioned earlier, the connection that's being made from the pin to bottom of the pad is connecting to this wire, and this wire is connecting to this pad. So if we measure from here to here, we should get a continuous path. And if we measure from here to here, we should get a continuous path. Meter in continuity mode, and let's measure. Make sure the pin is making a connection. We're gonna measure from here to here, see? And we're gonna also measure from here to right here. Okay? Now I added solder on this resistor from the back, so solder is going all the way to the front, and we can also go over this pad here. It doesn't look too good. Right, and beautiful. Let's remove the capacitor, replace it. The Northridge Fix NF flux. We're gonna use low melt solder. And we're gonna push down on the pins. Okay, and the cap should already be out. If not, then we can pull it. Oh, here. Right there. See? Look at this nice little blown orange cap. Bye-bye. Right, so I got the cap right here, and the long lead is positive. So we're gonna put it like this, and we're gonna solder from the back. And once we are at the back, we can bend the pins slightly so the cap can hold. Okay, let's check the front. Very nice. Let's cut. And we're gonna cut right here. Right, and let's check. And perfect. And now if we check the front, you can see how solder made its way all the way to the front. Amazing. We did an amazing job. We soldered the chip right here. We soldered the cap and the back. Amazing. Let me just do a quick measurement. Let me measure one of those components on the board. And I'm going to measure in diode mode to ground. So I'm going to place my probe on ground, which is the bottom pin of the cap. And we're going to measure here. We have 0.527. We have no reading, oh well. We have 2.79. And we have 0. Okay? So if we read here, we do the same. We measure here. 0.523, very nice.
Oh man.
We have nothing. We have 2.5, 2.6, and we have 0. Amazing. Let's measure the top part. Zero point 0.6, 0.679, 0.755, and 0.834. So we know all the pins are making a connection. Let's compare. 0.6, 0.675. We have 0.735, and we have 0.829. So we know the chip is reading the same as rest of the chips. And if we measure the cap in diode mode from here to here, we're getting 0.522. Measure this one. 0.522, exactly the same. And the same thing, we're gonna measure the resistance from here to here just one more time. We already did, but we wanna do it one more time. We have 100 kilo ohms. And let's measure from here to here. And we have 100 kilo ohms. Amazing. The measurements here are testing the same as here, are testing the same as here, here, and here. All of them are testing exactly the same. And we are done. We're gonna invoice and mail this back to the customer, and we have another board from the same customer. This is a different board. It looks similar, but it's not. And we're gonna be working on this one next. So the Cessna aircraft motherboard is done, and it's up to whoever wanna authorize it to authorize if this board can go on the aircraft or not. We did replace the components with originals. Soldering is amazing. All the pins are making a connection, and the pins are reading exactly the same as their neighboring brothers. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video. Just one final cleanup. Make it nice and shiny.
Better than factory.
All right, new day and another laptop that needs to be saved, and this time we have an XPS 13. This is the 9310 2-in-1 edition. The customer said that they sent this in because the charging ports no longer worked, but also that they broke a latch on the keyboard and touchpad connector, and that will need to be replaced. So I haven't taken a look at this yet. We'll take a look together and see if we can get this all fixed up. All right, the first thing we want to do, let's just see if it turns on. And I'm not seeing any keyboard lights at all. Let me plug in the charger. Keep an eye on the power meter right here. We just want to see if it starts pulling any current when we plug it in. Now we see it starting at 5 volts. The way USB-C works is it starts at 5 volts and it'll negotiate up to 20 volts. So it's just sitting here at 5 volts, but we also see it sitting at 0.33 amps. That's generally not a good thing if it just jumps straight to it. Let me do it again. Yeah, see it's jumping straight up to that. But what I want to do is I'm going to flip over this port. I want to see if it does anything different when we plug it in the other direction. We are getting exactly the same result. And then let's try the other port on the other side. This machine has 2 different ports. All right, so on this port, we're getting 1 volt, which is kind of strange. I've never actually seen that type of value. Let me try it again. We're getting 1 volt. Now let me flip this around. And 1 volt. Okay, so I suspect we have some sort of PD issue, so power delivery. So these machines will have a PD controller interface chip on either side that controls each port, and what that's responsible for is talking to the charger and negotiating up to that 20 volts that this machine is going to use to like run the motherboard, charge the battery, and things like that. So we'll need to open this up. We could still have a problem with the port, but these ports don't seem too loose when we plug it in. Yeah, they're pretty tight. So most likely it is a chip on the board that's shorted or damaged, and we'll need to get that replaced. So let me open the bottom up so we can take a look inside. All right, and the bottom is off. Wow, look at the size of the motherboard compared to the battery. This is only a 13-inch machine, but the motherboards are pretty compact. It does have 2 fans, which is nice. I just worked on one of these machines that had no fans at all, so at least this thing has active cooling. It looks like this is the connector that the customer was talking about being broken. Okay, so if we look at this under the microscope, I can definitely see that somebody's been in here. There's some active, plugging and unplugging. Ah, yes, and you can see the whole top portion of this connector is missing. This is supposed to flip down like this, but there should actually be a piece of plastic across here. And then this connector sits inside of this, so we will have to replace this in order to resolve this issue. Now this ribbon cable right here goes over to a junction board, and then that connects to the keyboard, the power light here at the front, and also the touchpad. So we will need to get that replaced in order to resolve this issue. Here's another thing I'm looking at. This machine has the battery connector held in by the screw and this little interposer. Now I can see that this screw is completely stripped out. This is a kind of a unique screw, and it's harder to find them. They are kind of long, but they have to be this exact height and length. The thread on this one, this is a T5 instead of a T6 on the head here, so it's a little bit different, and this is completely stripped out. We'll see if we can get this out and see if we can get that replaced. I don't know if I have the exact screw, but we'll find something that fits in there. But let's look around a little bit more and see if we can notice anything else going on. So what I'm looking for is, so here's the USB-C port. The power is going to be coming in here. It's going to negotiate with the chip. Now I don't see the PD chip on this side, but I don't see any damage on this side either. These might indicate that this is getting hot, and that chip looks burned up right there. Look at that. Yes, we definitely have a hole in this chip. So we have already identified an issue. There's a hole in this chip. Now, is this the PD controller chip? That would make more sense if it is. Let me see if I can get a number on this. Yes, this is actually the PD controller chip. So this is going to be the chip that's responsible for talking to the USB-C charger and negotiating up to 20 volts, and we can see that there's a hole straight through it. So this is going to be our issue, the 65992D AD, which I think I have some of these. It's a Texas Instruments chip. But just, you know, what drew my eye over to this area was that there was these two components getting hot because this plastic cover, okay. Whoa, what do we have here? Now we see why. Okay, well, here's your sign. So I just saw that there was some heat signature on this sticky area here, but now that we've peeled this back, we can actually see that there was liquid damage. And this is what our problem is. So we do have corrosion across this capacitor right here, and you could tell that this capacitor was getting hot right there, so we probably have a shorted capacitor here, and I can see a little bit of a crack. Let's look a little bit closer. Yeah, if you look closely, you can see there's a crack right here. So this capacitor is definitely bad. We will end up replacing pretty much all of these. Another thing I want you to pay attention to, these are coils, and so these are going to be the input of a power supply that's actually energizing this area, or it could be the output, I guess. But look at all this bubbling going on here. I'm probably going to replace those inductors because they can get damaged. But yeah, we definitely have a lot of issues in this area, and to resolve it, I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing this chip. We're going to replace these capacitors right here, at least these two, and probably this inductor, or maybe all of them. But let's continue looking around. We do see liquid damage, and it was probably missed by whoever looked at this before, because we know that somebody's been in here because of this cover, but we knew it because of the heat. So we're following clues, right? So we're doing detective work when we're working on these motherboards, is we're trying to figure out, is there a cause and effect? Is there something that we can follow to give us a clue on what will be the cause of some sort of issue? So now we're over to the other side of the board. I think this is the USB-C port that actually sat there at 5 volts but didn't do anything else. So this one's probably going to be okay. The way these USB-C ports end up working together is that we have a USB-C port on either side. There's only one. And then we'll have a PD controller chip on either side. Well, you can see that this one's completely burned up, has a hole through it. And so if this one's shorted out, it can no longer talk to this one. So even if this port's working just fine and this chip's working fine, this one won't work. So what we'll have to do is resolve all this, and hopefully it will resolve that side. But we're going to have to pull this whole board apart. We're going to need to clean. We need to look at the other side. So let me go ahead and get this motherboard pulled out. But I first need to figure out if I can get this screw out. I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard. So here's my T5 that we use to take off the bottom. You can tell that this is a little bit too small, but it does fit. So we are okay. So it actually is a T5. But what we want to look at is these interposers get damaged very easily too. And so we're going to flip this up and see if I can get this out of here. Okay, so we'll pull this interposer out of here. And if you just want to see how this works, so the battery connector, there's positive and negative, and then we got some data lines and is present. And then all you're trying to do is just connect these together, and then this interposer is what does that. And so it just has a bunch of pins that pass through, and they make contact. But what ends up happening is that you're not careful with these, and you'll end up getting bent pins. And so as long as the data pins in the middle are fine, then we're not going to have an issue. Those look okay, they're not bent up, and then we'll look at the other side. And we see some damage here. See these pins right here? See how these data pins look like that? All of those are looking fine. Now look at these. See how they're not connected? They're kind of like, they're not pronged up anymore. So this interposer is destroyed. We're not going to be able to repair these pins to actually make contact to the center. And then we look, we have a bent pin there, we have a bent pin there. So if we connect this battery back up in here, even if we had this board running, the issue that we're going to have is that the battery's not going to be detected, or it's not going to be able to charge. It's going to say either battery's not present, or it's going to say that there's a fatal error with the battery or something like that. Now I can see that this person put a new battery in. This is new, but it's a aftermarket because it doesn't have a Dell logo, it doesn't have a Dell serial number. So we know that this is a fake battery, probably purchased off Amazon or something like that. Now, that's okay. I don't really condone them most of the time because they are inferior batteries, but they probably replaced the battery and it didn't work. And this is definitely the cause here. I don't know how many times they took it apart because we have this broken connector here and this spill over here. I don't know the complete story, but we're going to have to replace this connector also. So we're going to put that on our list of having to replace, but let me continue pulling this board out. All right, and the motherboard is out. And you can actually see right here where this connector connects to the motherboard and it goes to this junction board. So since it's damaged, we don't have the backlight on the keyboard, we don't have the keyboard connected, we don't have the touchpad connected, and we don't have this LED indicator in the front connected. So lots of issues because of that connector there. So that's actually going to be kind of a pain to change out, but I'll show you some tricks and see if we can get this done. We will have to be transplanting from another board because I don't have any of those connectors. All right, we got the motherboard out, and I want to look around. I'm going to peel off some of these stickers because we want to see if there's any more corrosion. So this is where the corrosion was, so I'm going to pull this back. And I want to look on the opposite side of the board and see if we have any corrosion on this side also. So let's peel this back and see. There's some more of those inductors, so there must be some sort of power rail in this area. And this is all looking clean. So there's some programming headers. We won't need those, hopefully. Changing out PD controllers, sometimes they need to be programmed, and that's where we would program them through. I do have a programmer for it, but I don't think we're going to need to deal with that. All right, so this is all clean here. I'm not going to worry about peeling this all the way back. It looks fine. Let's look over here in this corner. Yeah, that's all fine. Okay, so wait, is that a burnt? Looking at that inductor, is that just sticky? Yeah, that's just sticky on top of it. Sometimes the sticky does look like it is a burnt or corroded chip. So we're just going to do a quick sweep across here. Some more stickers. Definitely needed for these smaller machines. And I don't see any evidence of liquid over here, but we're going to pick up some of this to look underneath it. Let me preheat the board to get this sticky to come up. Okay, let's see if we can get this to lift up. I don't think we're going to have any issues. Yeah, there's no electronics under here, so nothing to worry about there. So it's the other edge of the board is where we need to actually focus on, because when the boards are on the edge is where all the spills always are. And that looks clear, and I don't see any damage there. And then here's the USB-C port, and under here we might have something. And we are okay here too. So let me flip it over, and we're going to do our inspection on the top. So this is the USB-C port that's working. It's measuring 5 volts. It's not shutting off or showing a weird reading, but it's not jumping up to 20 volts, so it's not negotiating. You do see a little bit of something here. And this is the PD controller chip for this side, but this, I don't know, this kind of just looks like dust. I don't think it's too bad, so we'll get that cleaned up. This is flux right here. But maybe there's something, no, this is all dust. It does kind of look like corrosion, but this is all dust. We'll get it all cleaned up anyway. That looks fine. Okay, there's the BIOS chip. And the heatsink goes all the way across here. And we'll look over here behind this stuff. Whoa. Yeah, so there's that spot that we're looking at. Can you see the hole right there? Yeah, this is crazy messed up. So what I want to do next, I'm going to remove the heatsink off of here just because I need to get it out of the way because of the fans and stuff like that. And then we're going to remove all these components over here. We're going to see if that kind of resolves any short in this area. We should actually measure to see if we do have a short, but let me get this heatsink off. All right, I got the heatsink off. This is a little bit interesting the way that they put everything underneath here. So this one has the hard drive is built on the board, the memory is built on the board, the CPU is built on the board. So if we're not able to fix this, their data is pretty much locked on this chip here. And so we want to make sure that we're going to be able to fix this board so they can access their data. So the heatsink's out of the way. We want to prep the board so we can remove this burnt chip here. I'm going to remove the sticky stuff on the back so it doesn't melt. And we'll put it back on at the end. Okay, so let's get this PD controller pulled off and all these other chips. We can try cleaning this up, but let's take a measurement before we begin so we can see if there's a short here in this location. When we touch our probes together, it does beep. We're just trying to figure out if we are detecting a short in this area. I would be surprised if we don't have a short, and we definitely do have a short in this area. I believe it's going to be this capacitor. Oh, look, it's actually rocking back and forth even. So we will be replacing all of these. So when we pull this off, I'm going to pull both of these off, pull both of these off, and I'm going to pull this chip off here that has the hole in it. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, a little bit of flux. Put some flux over these. Oh, that capacitor's coming off too. Hopefully the board's not too cauterized right there. When you have corrosion and burning chips, then sometimes it damages the board and it's hard to solder to. So we'll see if we can repair this board too. All right, I'm just going to preheat the board a little bit. Be able to get these chips off pretty fast. You can see the flux boil.
I worked on a Cessna aircraft circuit board a few days ago.
Man, the internet is all abuzz right now about this rumored 9950 X3DX2 CPU, which is technically rumored to be a dual CCD 3D V-Cache CPU coming out from AMD. We're going to talk today about these rumors, what it possibly means, and why I kind of don't think it's actually going to happen. I guess I'd be okay with being wrong on that one, but I have some thoughts on this, and I think there's too many trade-offs.
Recently, Arnold Schwarzenegger turned 78. After several heart surgeries, doctors say he may not live to see his 80th birthday. But he still has a fortune worth over $1 billion, and he's determined to use it to help thousands of families in need. He owns some of the most incredible properties in the world, a $16 million mansion in the hills of Los Angeles, and even a historic castle in Austria worth $32 million, complete with a private gym and stables. He also possesses rare and unique items, including a custom-made $5 million watch and the original Terminator motorcycle, which has barely been used. However, Schwarzenegger isn't just a symbol of wealth. He's also incredibly generous. He founded a project that helps homeless veterans get back on their feet, and every year, he donates $5 million of his own money to schools in underprivileged areas. If you wish him a long life, write legend in the comments. Recently,
check this out. This rusty, unassuming old gadget is a treasure the guy scored for just $1. From the scrapyard, he brought it home, already battered and worn, emanating an ancient vibe as if narrating its own history. But in the dude's eyes, this ain't just some piece of junk. It's a work of art, with every detail oozing charm. As a restoration expert, the guy decided to flex his skills and breathe new life into this old relic. Just what will this beat-up contraption transform into under his craftsmanship? Let's wait and see. The whole process is mad therapeutic. If you're into restoration vids, don't miss this one. Our man's been grinding for 10 hours straight, putting in that hard work to wrap up this project ASAP. Anyone know what this is? Feel free to drop your guesses in the comments. They say clicking like is a courtesy. Not clicking is just expected. But since you've made it this far, surely you won't be stingy with that heart. Your support fuels these artists' hands to keep creating. So, mad thanks for that.
Земляк, мы стрелять не хотим, мы так наблюдаем. И хороший вы, блядь, человек. Движение вперед! Граната тут! Прямо вверх! Пацаны, окружаем